Good morning, everybody. My name is Joshua Boatman, and I am the Regional Technology Director for the Ohio Valley region. And in today's regional command training, we're going to go over the consumer applet within command, which basically we're going to focus mostly on the agent websites. We're going to talk a little bit about the app if we have time at the end, but we're just going to kind of go through what you can do with the agent websites, what you can't do, some best practices along the way. As always, if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to unmute yourself, ask them, throw them in the chat, raise your hand, whatever makes the most sense, and I will do my best to answer them. So let me go ahead and attempt to share my screen. And hopefully we are seeing the screen and it looks like it's working. Phenomenal. Perfect. So as always, with every training, I always typically like to start out with command. I always want to jump out into the upper left-hand corner and click the red KW just to make sure everyone is aware that you can expand the name of the applets so we can kind of see which applets we're working in. So for us, we're going to spend most of our time today within the consumer applet. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to click on this. Now, when we initially get into the consumer applet screen, there's a couple different things we're going to kind of see here. By default, it's going to take us to our agent site pages. These are all the different agent site pages that we have, in fact, created. And to give you a quick rundown on what an agent site page is, an agent site page is basically a page that will appear within, that you can have appear within the menu of your agent site. So if you've ever been to any website and on any computer anywhere along the way, if you click the little menu button and you can list pages there, typically those are what we are going to call our agent site pages. We have landing pages to the right of this, and these are going to be pages that we can build specifically for the purpose of lead generation. So a landing page can be used for multiple things, but ideally a landing page is a temporary page where you want to drive traffic to it to capture lead information, or maybe to promote an upcoming event, maybe even potentially an open house. One of the benefits of landing pages is that we can actually turn these things off and on. So you don't have to delete them, but you can actually turn them off and on when you need them. The guide builder, we're not going to delve too much into this. We'll try to jump on it in the end, but this allows you to build out a specific buyer's guide or seller's guide that can be available on your agent site as well as within your app. So the idea behind this is that you could create a step-by-step guide that your buyers maybe need to follow with checklist items, the same with your sellers. And through the app and or your website, your seller can kind of check these things off. You can check things off. There are some really cool things where this integrates specifically with an opportunity so you can monitor a specific client. We're going to try to spend most of our time with the pages, though. That's generally the biggest questions we get. So on this main screen where we're generally going to go, along the top here, if you have this configure site option, go ahead and configure your site. And it's going to ask you a couple questions here. Hey, what do you want to use? The new Keller Williams site, the Playster site, if you want to continue to use Playster, which was a partnership we had in the past, or if you wanted to explore other Keller Williams marketplace options for your site, you could do that as well. But for our class, we're going to use the free Keller Williams agent sites because it's free, it's part of command, and it has some really cool integrations that we're going to kind of talk about. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to click this and click submit. This is going to take us into our Kelly guide for agent sites. So for those of you unfamiliar, generally Kelly guides are step-by-step guides that have been built within command to kind of walk you through the nitty-gritties of getting something set up initially. So within this Kelly guide, we're going to talk about choosing our subdomain. We're going to modify some of the themes and styling. And then we're also going to possibly create some pages here at the end specific to your site. So to get started, we're going to click the Get Started button. Now, the first thing that's going to pop up here is a compliance reminder. And this is just kind of like the warning from Keller Williams International. This is basically saying, hey, when you build an agent website, you need to make sure that you're including your Market Center DBA logo. You need to make sure you have your ownership statement placed in the website footer if required for your area, and that you're also following all the compliance laws and rules with your local board and commissions. If you don't know those things, talk to your TL, talk to your MCA, talk to your local licensing authority, your board, whatever it is. And if for some reason, if you don't have your DBA logo for your Market Center, you can easily find it by clicking here, and this will take you to Connect, where you can then search for your logo by Market Center number and download it. The biggest purpose of this is just basically Keller Williams International saying, hey, we're not responsible to verify that what you put on the website is accurate, that you're following all the rules. We need you to do that. So that way, if you get fined and in trouble in any way, Keller Williams kind of alleviates their responsibility, if that makes sense. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to acknowledge and continue. So the first thing it's going to pull us into is picking our subdomain. So the one thing I want to point out to you on the left-hand side here, this is actually going to be what our site looks like. As we kind of go through these various pages, we're going to be able to get a preview of what we're building on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side is where we're going to kind of plug in some of this additional information. So the first step is going to be our subdomain. And I don't want to get too technical, but I always kind of like to give a little background on some things so people have an understanding on what we're talking about. So everyone's probably heard the name domain name. What's your domain name? What's your domain? Well, a domain name or a domain in this case would be kw.com. So that is the domain name. The subdomain is going to be what's before the main domain name. So in this case, kw.com, the subdomain for my site is going to be joshuaboatman.kw.com. So we want to make sure that we pick a subdomain, that it is descriptive, it's short, that it identifies, it's easy to remember, all those good things. And over here on the right-hand side is where we kind of pick it. So there are some limitations to what we can do. So it can only be 30 characters in length. You can't have like a 97, Keller Williams, Ohio's best agent, running.kw.com, whatever it is, right? You can't have any spaces, no special characters. And a good note is if you change your subdomain name, it is released and it could be claimed by another agent. So said another way, currently right now, I have joshuaboatman.kw.com. If I wanted to just be joshboatman.kw.com and I clicked claim domain, if it's available, if Josh Boatman is available, it'll allow me to claim it, but that means that I have freed up Joshua Boatman for another agent to potentially claim. And then once someone claims a domain name, if you accidentally give yours up and someone else takes it, there's not really a whole lot we can do about it unless they're willing to release it. So we're going to go ahead and just figure out what we want our subdomain name to be, and we can click confirm domain. This can change. We can change this later. If you're not 100% certain on what you want it to be, that's okay. Feel free to put something in there now. And then later, if you want to talk to your spouse, your other agents, your kids, your mom, your dad, your dog, whatever makes the most sense on picking a better subdomain name, feel free to do just that. So we're going to go ahead and click confirm domain. And if everything worked out, we're going to get this nice little message that says you have claimed it. So then below that, we're going to have our marketing profile. So when we click on marketing profile, this is actually going to pull the marketing profile that we have filled out within Command. If for some reason we did not fill it out, this gives us an opportunity to kind of make some changes for the marketing profile that will appear within our agent website. But here you can kind of see it kind of just pulled some of the basic information. So you can see my team name, the Josh Boatman Group. You can see my title, my email address, my phone number, the biography that I had entered in over there as well. So I'm just a guy with a passion for helping people see how technology can improve their lives. My agent license number, any compliance information, my Market Center contact info as well, right? All pretty standard stuff, but stuff that you're going to want to make sure that as we're going through this guide, that you have the ability to make sure that it's accurate, right? We want to, one of the key things, if you're going to have an agent website and you're going to promote it, let's just make sure your contact information is as accurate as possible. So then, of course, our next section here is going to be the imagery. This is where we can make sure our picture is uploaded that's proper. Do we have the appropriate market center logo? Do we have a team logo that we want to upload as well? Just kind of go through here and you can kind of upload and change those as needed. And then, of course, we have our social media links where you want to confirm, is it linking to your social media profiles? By default, it will default to all the Keller Williams International profiles if you don't have anything. But of course, you can delete these if you don't want the link to the Keller Williams YouTube and instead want to link to your own. That is all things that you're able to do and change right here as well. So pretty simple, pretty basic. You know, if we kind of go through here real quick, and let's just say I noticed that my phone number is incorrect and I change it. You know, it's as simple as coming down, changing it, and then just hitting save and continue. So now the next thing is going to ask us, see, we're on step 2 now, right? So we're in styles and themes. We picked our subdomain name. We verified our marketing profile. Now we're under styles and theme. So basically, we have 2 choices here. We can have the dark theme or the red theme. And what it basically does is just going to be the color theme that is going to kind of run throughout the site. So do you want, you know, black logos and text and buttons and things like that, or do you want red, right? It's very subtle changes, and this is, we can always change this back and forth when we're actually within the consumer profile as well. But it just really is just a matter of personal preference. In all honesty, even if you switch between red and dark, you're probably not going to notice it that much, honestly, because it's just very, very subtle changes. The next section here is we're going to talk about the homepage text. So once again, so you can see here we are on, this is what my website looks like, my homepage. If you go to joshuaboatman.kw.com, this appears. So here we can pick our homepage text. And here you can see I put turn your dreams into an address. You know, whatever you want it to be in here, obviously nothing, you know, derogatory or negative. You can change it. And if I want to like maybe capitalize, turn your dreams into an address, you can see that it's actually in real time. We're building it out so we can kind of see what it looks like on the page. That's what capitalize the word dreams to. And then below that is where we can change our hero images. So our hero images are going to be the images that are behind the initial search bar on our homepage. We have the ability to upload 5 different hero images, and they will rotate through as people load your page. They're not going to be rotating as someone's on the homepage, but when they load it, they'll get a different one. When they load it, another one, they'll get a different one. There's some recommendations. Now we have a minimum size we recommend, which is 1200 by 1200 pixels. And then, of course, you can upload up to 5 additional images. You don't have to have 5. If you just want the same static image all the time, you can easily come over here and just delete the ones you don't want. If you want to preview what it looks like, you can once you upload your image, you can click preview and you can see what it looks like in the context of your page. Of course, to delete one, it's as simple as just hitting the little trash can and it's gone. Uploading is pretty simplistic, right? If you've ever uploaded anything to anything on a computer, you're going to click upload, you're going to click browse. It's going to take you to a section where you can go and you can select pictures. And, you know, for instance, we could come in here and select a picture. Actually, I don't want to use those pictures. I wonder where, I don't know if I have any good pictures to upload. I should add that in. But you can upload an image. It'll appear here. You can preview it and then save those changes. You can never have more than 5, but you have to have at least a minimum of 1. And one of the things I kind of would always recommend everyone when they're kind of working on their agent site, go through here and change the images so it's reflective of the market that your business is in, right? Don't have pictures of palm trees and the ocean front if you don't have that in your area, right? Just try to make it relevant to your business. When it comes to pictures as well, be very cautious with what you upload. In general, we want to make sure that you own the rights to those photos. So that's just another way. Don't just take someone's picture off of Facebook or off of another website and turn around and upload it to yours. That is copyright infringement. And there is a serious, people do get in trouble for that. So a couple of rules of thumb. If you go to a website and you purchase the rights to the images, that's great. There are royalty-free websites where they just give away free images that you're allowed to use. And then another rule of thumb is if you take the picture, if you physically take the picture and it's in a public space, right? You take a picture of the fountain in your city downtown or something along those lines, you can absolutely use those photos because you have the ownership of that image. So kind of go through and just make whatever changes you want. So for instance, for me, I want it to just be the dog. I like dogs. So that's what I want. I want the family. Oh, look, the kid likes baseball. Who doesn't love baseball? I love baseball. It's America's pastime. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to hit save and continue. And now we're actually going to start customizing the content on our site. So this is where we're actually going to start building out some pages. So on the right-hand side here, we actually have 3 little drop downs. So we have navigation. So navigation is just going to kind of say, hey, here is the order of the pages we're going to kind of build out, but also the order that they're going to show up within the navigational menu. We'll kind of talk about that once we're actually viewing the site live, and you'll kind of get a better feel for what I'm talking about. But right now we're building, do you have a recommendation for royalty-free photos? There are quite a few sites. One of the ones that I have, I think, if you go to Pixabay, and I will throw that in there. And yes, Unsplash is one as well. Thanks, Amanda. Pixabay has a lot of royalty-free images you can kind of dig into. There's a couple of them out there. Just make sure that it is a reputable site and it's not like Bob's Images, Bob's Free Images, because sometimes some of those places will just steal images and then try to pretend that they're royalty free just so they can drive advertisement to their site. But Pixabay is a great one. Unsplash is one as well. There are quite a few out there. You just have to take a little bit of time to research those. Great question. Thank you for asking it. The next section here is the search engine optimization, SEO, the thing everyone's here for, right? Because everyone here loves the idea of what SEO is. You want to learn about all the inner workings of SEO and all that good stuff, right? Probably not. SEO basically just give you the idea. When a search engine like Google, for instance, or Yahoo, when they index your website, they try to pull information from your website to better understand what's on your website. So if someone does a search for something that could reference your website, information on said site, that it has the ability to locate it and show it within a search engine. So the page title is what we tell Google in this case. What is the title of this page? Is it company profile? Could it be, about the Boatman Group? Could it be about your market center? Could it be, learn more about Keller Williams? Whatever you want the title to be. You'll notice, though, as I'm typing in the page title, it's not actually changing the title that's showing up on the page. These are 2 different things. In general, we do want our page title to match up with our display title, and we'll change that in the content section. But I just kind of want to point out the difference. This is just where we kind of go through and we try to provide some information to the search engines that are going to be trolling and indexing our site to better identify what's on here. The next thing you're going to see below is the URL slug. So what this is going to be what's after the .com, the / after our subdomain, right? So right now our website is joshuaboatman.kw.com / and this page is going to be about -us. Once again, there's some limitations here. We don't want any spaces, no special characters outside of a dash. But if I don't want this to be about us, I could have it be about the boatman group, my team name. It's so boring. I need to change my team name. I'm going to change it to the Team Thundercats. That's what I'm going to do. Next class, I will be Team Thundercats. Mark my words. But so you can see as we type this in, that is what the actual destination will be. Your URL slug is important just because you want to make sure that it's something you can remember, something that's easy. You could be just about us, right? Something simple. And that way, when you're talking to a client, you say, oh yeah, go to my website, joshuaboatman.kw.com/about-us. If you don't want the dash, you don't have to have the dash. You just be about us. No dash, no spaces, no nothing. Whatever you want to do. And then your SEO description, this is going to be, what search engines kind of read to get a real feel for what's on your site. So the little I here will give you some information, right? You want to make sure that what's in here is relevant to what's on the site. This is how, Google will really try to link search results to your site. One of the things I try to tell people to avoid, though, don't sit there and type in just keywords like real estate. Real estate, houses, right? Realtor, whatever it is, don't do that. I generally like the just summarize what's on the page. A quick overview of the Boatman Group selling real estate in the greater Dayton, Ohio area. You just generally are going to have, oh, thank you, Grammarly. Grammarly is always making me look smarter than I am. But I generally like to use SEO description is just summarize what's on the page. You're generally going to get better results because Google's pretty smart. And if they just see a bunch of keywords, sometimes they're not going to index it properly, or you're not going to improve your SEO. This isn't extremely important in general. So you can always come back and change this later. Don't get caught up on filling it out now. And then now we're going to get to the important part here, right? The content. So content is where we actually determine what's showing up on the page itself. So here we have our page header, right? So this could be about the Boatman Group, right? And as we're typing it in, we're seeing it build live on the left-hand side. The next thing we can do is adjust our header image. So this is the image behind it. Once again, just as we talked about previously, try to have something that is relevant to your marketplace, to your team, to your group, whatever makes the most sense. There's no skyline that looks like this in our area that I sell real estate to or in. So I would definitely want to look into changing that. And then we kind of go through and we build out the content the way we desire the most, right? So we have our quick description. So this is our intro paragraph. Welcome to the Boatman Group, right? Where we turn your dreams into an address, right? How exciting, right? We're just starting to build this out. And as you can see, each headline in each paragraph has a connected box on the right-hand side. So here I could do, maybe I want to have a little showcase about the team, right? The mission of the Boatman Group, right? Helping you find your dream home, build your memories. I'm not in marketing, so don't judge me. I can feel your judgment already. Luckily, through Zoom, I don't see your body language. And then, once again, we can adjust the image, right? So they give us some recommended sizes. Try to stay within those recommended sizes as best you can, just so that way the format and everything looks good. We can upload and change these images. Then we have our second headline. You can continue to build this out. Then we have like a little footer section over here, footer title, footer section, any additional information that you want to include. And it's just that simple. It's that basic, right? As we build out these standard pages on your site, this is important stuff because you want to be succinct, you want to be descriptive. But one of the things what I really love what we're doing with our agent sites is they're just very clean. They're clean, they're fast, they're not complicated. That's all important things. So if we're happy with the way that this looks, we're just going to click continue. And now it's going to take me to the About Me section, right? So, I did a page about us. That could be about my market center. That could be just about Keller Williams in general. That could be about my team, right? My group. This could be about me as the rainmaker. So I could, once again, we have our navigation. We're not going to mess too much with this. Our search engine optimization. Here, we can change this to about Joshua, right? And maybe I want this to be about Josh. And then, of course, if I wanted to put an SEO description, none of that changes, right? And then content, what we add on the right-hand side, we're going to slowly see get built out. So here we can see about Joshua Boatman, right? Here it pulled in my title. So this is, I'm the Regional Technology Director at the Josh Boatman Group. Technically, that's not true. I am at the Ohio Valley region, right? And then here's my bio title, right? And then it just pulled my bio from my marketing profile. Now, what's really cool is I could have that marketing profile designated within Command, right? That's showing up on different facets and different marketing pieces. But then within here, I have the ability to update and change this. So if I want to be a little bit more descriptive, if I want to be a little bit more, just something different on my agent site, I can continue to add. And then this does not modify what is happening on my marketing profile. So I can basically kind of at that point have two separate things going. I'm going to go ahead and leave my bio there. I'm short and sweet and to the point, just like my dating profile. And then, just your contact info as well. Pretty simple, right? Nothing fancy. It's going to pull your image from Command. Everything's pretty great. We're just going to then go ahead and click continue. And then it's going to be our contact us page, right? This is the page that, worst case scenario, you can drive people to it if they want more information, if they want to reach out to you, if you're running a Facebook campaign of some sort and you just want to dump them on a contact page, this is the page to do it. When they fill out information on this page, this will generate a contact, a lead within Command. So you'll get a Kelly notification, you'll get a notification bell, you'll get an email, and then you'll know that someone has filled out this contact form on your website. Pretty simple, right? Same process we did before, contact us. Oh, I hopped on a little late. I'm wondering the main differences between the agent site and consumer site. I hoped on a little earlier as well. I hope every time I hope it's just a little. But to answer your question, I guess I need a little bit more clarification there, Amanda. So an agent site, is basically a consumer site, so to speak. So maybe are you asking the difference between your agent site and maybe just the kw.com site, the national site? If so, the biggest difference would be your agent site is specific to you. And if you drive traffic to your agent website, right, any of the leads that are generated, any of the inquiries that are made on any property, whether it's your listing, another Keller Williams agent listing, another broker's listing, right? Because we have access to all the listings across the country. Any inquiries made are going to go directly to you. Right. So the idea is you always want to drive traffic when you're advertising your listing through a Facebook campaign and you need a landing page. Make sure that you're driving that traffic back to your Keller Williams agent site page or your agent site, right? Because that is specific to you. So in essence, your agent site is a consumer site. It is a consumer facing site. It's just one that's branded specifically to you. And then that way, any lead, any interaction that anyone does on your site, you will in fact receive that lead versus someone going to kw.com, filling out information and potentially selecting a different agent. Hopefully that helps. And then, so once again, search engine optimization, we're not going to dive too much deeper into this. It's basically the same thing as this is our third time's the charm, right? We can say, contact Josh if we want that URL slug to be a little bit more specific. Contact's easy enough as well, though. And then the content, just as what we did before, anything we change on the right-hand side will be reflective on what the page looks like. We have some optional text here as well. And then you have your default text, right? So if you want to include in this message, hey, this is where you can kind of be that call to action to give someone an idea as to what they should be putting in here. Are they looking to buy? Are they time frame? Are they looking to search? What's the budget? Any and all that good stuff here that they can slowly start to build out. Right? Simple enough. Then we're just going to hit save and continue. And our site has now been configured. So now it's going to say, hey, what do you want to do? Do you want to go to the frequently asked questions? Do you want to go to the site settings? Do we want to create more pages, right? Let's go ahead and let's manage our site. And now, with that said, if I go to the Josh Boatman group, here you can see, right, this is my live site. Everything that we have done is live. And you can see my new hero image in the back, right? If I go to my menu, I have a bunch of menu options here. I can go to the About the Josh Boatman group that we put up here. Here's one where I put an image previously. Right, we have all these pages live. Any of those Facebook links that I did as we were going through are all live now. And it's just that simple. One of the really cool things that we talk about within our agent site, and this actually was a great example that I was given yesterday by one of the Market Center Tech trainers. The simplicity and the cleanliness of our agent sites is what's really huge because it's not complicated. Think of it, it's just like Google, right? Someone comes here, you send them here, they can easily look for a property. They start typing in just like when they do a Google search. And then before you know it, they're finding all the properties that are available. And then what's really great, because you are connected to every single MLS across the country, one of the things that I think is such a huge value add that if you are just a member of a local MLS, so for instance, here in Dayton, we have the Dayton MLS. If you have clients that are interested in moving to Columbus, but you're not a member of the Columbus MLS, you are tied into the Columbus MLS, right? You are actually tied within that, so they can actually come up here and they can search Columbus, Ohio. And they're going to see all the properties within Columbus, Ohio. I've got to zoom in here a little bit. It's a big state. So you can actually start to pull in all of these. It's searching right now. We've got to zoom in here a little bit, but it's going to start pulling up all those properties. So you're actually tied into every single MLS across the country without even having to be a member of it. And if someone is signed up on your site and your account, when they start to favorite these things, you're going to get those notifications. You're going to see what they're searching for. It's just kind of a really cool thing. One of the things that we do have, if you type in, like, say, the White House, it actually, you can type in like landmarks, and this is kind of a cool thing. So you can actually see, here's the White House. If we start to zoom out, we may potentially see homes that are for sale around the White House. What is this monstrosity? $7.5 million. Because, I mean, who wouldn't want to live near the White House, right? I mean, look at this. This is insanity. That doesn't look like the White House at all. But in general, you can sit here and you can start to see just the different homes, and you can search by landmark. So, like, I think we used to be able to do, what's another good one? Oh, I can't think of another landmark. But anyways, it's just kind of a cool thing you can do. Pretty simple. So, at that point, your agent site is up and running, right? You've created the needed contact pages, the needed about me pages, and you can start driving traffic to your site. And then people can start to utilize it to do what it's designed to do, which is quickly search for homes. Pretty simple. So now let's talk about some of the more advanced things you can kind of do on your agent site. At that point, you don't have to do anything else, but you can, and let's talk about that. So from our consumer screen, our consumer applet, right? So we've just clicked on consumer. This is our screen that we see. We have an option here called Site App Settings. If we click that, this is going to take us to our site and app settings where we can kind of go through and configure specific things. So if we don't want to go through that Kelly guide again, for instance, here I can change my hero text, right? That turn your dreams into an address. Here I can upload and change the various images that are on my hero images up to 5. Right here, I can change the text to my app landing page if I so choose to do so. If I want to indicate virtual tours, I can include those as well. And then the thing I want to point out here under preferences, we kind of have it hidden, but if you expand it by clicking the little caret, you can also determine if you want the Keller mortgage and the Keller insurance Keller covered indicated on your app and in your site as well. Highly recommend you do, because those are Keller products that, especially the mortgage, I'm actually in the process of starting to look into refinancing through Keller Mortgage because of just the deals that they're giving and how they really are about as competitive as anyone can possibly be in the mortgage industry. Then as we kind of move along the top, URLs, this is just where we could change that again, right? We don't have to go through the Kelly guide. If I want to change it to Josh Boatman, I can change it here. If I want to change it to Team Thundercats.kw.com, I can change it here, all that good stuff. The app URL, this is a link to your app, your Keller Williams app that is branded to you. So if you share this specific link, when people download and install the app, it should automatically brand to them or to you, right? So that's an important thing. And then we have what we call featured listings. So if I click featured listings, this is going to allow me to put a list of homes up to 12 on my main page. So let's jump back to my agent website. And as you notice here, I can see my recent solds, right? This is a featured listings thing here, right? So you could have it be my recent solds. You could have it be featured properties, right? You can have it be anything you want that is a group of 12 or less listings. Now, what's the value in this? Well, you can feature certain properties, and maybe even potentially, if you're out there on that listing presentation, and it's a higher end home, and maybe you kind of mention to them and you say, hey, one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to feature your house on my website, for the first 30 days it's listed. Now, hopefully it's not going to be listed for 30 days, not in this market, but suspend your disbelief. It's just one of those little tiny value adds where you can say, hey, when someone goes to my website, they're always going to see your home, right? And I always like to kind of throw things like that in, especially when you're going on like a listing presentation, for instance, because the reality of it is 85, all realtors do 85 to 90% of the same thing, right? You put it in the MLS, you do an open house, you have flyers, it's on realtor.com, whatever it is. So it's going to be those little tiny things that you can kind of say as value adds. It says, oh yeah, I'm just going to feature it as a listing on my main page on my agent site. Does that mean it's going to sell the property? Maybe, maybe not. But I think it's a value add that is important. But some agents like to do my solds, and you can just say, hey, type in your solds, select the listings. I don't actually have any listings right now, but you can start to search for properties that you sold, because we actually, if you notice here, you can look, there's over 1.3 million listings listed here. Some are sold, some are active, some are, whatever, because this is the power of the Keller Williams listing system, the KWLS. So you can locate your properties that you've sold and you can select them, hit done. And when you hit save changes, those will now appear as featured listings with the title of My Solds on your home page. Don't have to use the featured listings option if you don't want. If you don't have any property selected here, it doesn't show up. But just kind of a nice little value add for you. And then we have theme. So theme, once again, this is us changing the color from red to dark, the buttons, the things like that. Not that big of a deal. just depending on what you want to do. And then the quick note here that when you do change the theme, it can take about 15 minutes for it to actually propagate throughout your entire website. And then here on the end, your agent site pages, this is where we build out the menu. So when we talk about our menu, we're talking about this little drop down here. And here you can see I have quite a few menu items. If I don't want all these here, I can click on one, right? I can click the three little dots or the ellipses to the right, and I can delete it and then click to confirm. Now that's not deleting the page as much as what that's doing is it's deleting it from my menu. So let's just say I want to get rid of this one. Let's get rid of this one. Let's get rid of this one. So now when that's done, if I go back to my site, here you can see all those pages, but when I refresh, if things work correctly, now you can see I've consolidated my menu a little bit. So this is just kind of agent site pages is where you pick the agent site pages you want to appear within your menu. You can change the order of them by clicking the 6 little dots to the left and dragging up and down. Or you can add a page, which is going to bring up your list of agent site pages. And then you can select one. So say I want to include the see my reviews. I can click continue. It's going to say, hey, is that what you want to do? And then we're good to go. So now let's actually jump back into agent site pages and landing pages. So at the beginning, I kind of tried to explain the difference, right? Agent site pages are pages that are actually linked to your site that you can include within the menu. And you can build some pretty cool customizable ones within there. So if we click create a new page in the upper right-hand corner, we're going to have two options: on my agent site or as a landing page. So we're going to build a page for our agent site. We're going to click create page. And now it's going to bring this up. So the first thing I always kind of recommend everyone, let's identify what this is. And let's just say I want to build a page that talks about my team, right? Meet my team. So here we have the blank canvas, right? And then on the right-hand side, we have widgets. We have 8 widgets, and then we actually have 2 content blocks if we want to include an image and a text. So let's walk through this real quick to show you kind of how this works. So each widget, you're going to left click, and you're going to drag over to the left-hand side to build it out. So I want you to notice the green line. Anywhere you see that green line, your widget, or in this case, also your content block, is going to appear below that green line. So said another way, we stack content blocks and widgets on top of each other. So if let's just say I wanted to do this, meet the team. And let's say below meet the team, I wanted to drop in a contact form. So I grab in my left click content form. And if you notice, you probably saw it real quick, but down here at the bottom, you can see the green line at the very, very bottom. I'm pointing at my screen like you guys can see me point. But if we drag it down there, now I can scroll down and the form is below that. You cannot stack widgets next to each other. We can only stack widgets and content blocks on top of each other. That's by design, so that way it just makes it a little bit easier to build out a site for everyone. So just kind of want to point that out. If you drop a widget on a page that you don't want, you just are going to select that widget and you're going to have the little trash can that you can click and it will delete that widget. So we've included the meet the team, but maybe I also want to include like an image above that. Well, I could go to my content blocks, go to image. And if I drag my images above it, right? So my image is going to appear below the green line. Now it's dropped in an image and I have the ability to upload one. Let me just randomly grab something. Here, I'll just grab this. And now I've added that image, right? If I don't want the image, it's just as simple as highlighting it, hitting the trash can. You can do that with text. So text are, content block text where you can just start typing in the text, adjust your font size, what font you want, all that good stuff. As we kind of walk through the different widgets, you have your agent profile, and actually we'll kind of just go through each one here real quick. You have your agent profile, which is just a quick down and dirty, what we did before, the About You section, right? This is just, hey, about Josh. If you want to include this widget on an additional page. You have your testimony carousel and your testimony list. So your testimony carousel is going to be where you can actually drive people to view reviews about you. And this is in a carousel format, so they can kind of go left and right. The testimony list is just going to be a straight list where they scroll through it. And if you want to actually capture those, it's going to be the testimonial capture form. So you could build a specific site. And I think, for instance, I have one here, so I'll show you on my page. So here's the leave me a review. Someone comes here and I have, leave dash review. When they fill this out, they give me however many stars they want. They can preview and save the testimonial. I then can have that appear on my site, whether in a carousel or a testimonial list. Now, the really cool thing is you do have the ability to control which ones show up. So let's just say, let's see what we've done here. We've added a couple different things in here. Let's get rid of that. If I click configure widgets down at the bottom, it's going to walk me through configuring every single widget that I have listed here. So let's even drop my download my app down here at the bottom, right? So here you have my list of testimonials. I included a little about me page just so people know who their reviews are about. And then I have a link to download my app. When I click configure widgets, it's going to walk me through each widget to configure. So, all right, so here's my client list, what I want the headline to be. View all my reviews below. And then I can do my intro text, which is, so this is my headline, which is over here. Then here's my intro text. See why my clients choose me. And then we can pick and choose what pieces of information about our clients we want to present. Do we just want first name, last initial, and city? We can just have that information show up. And then here below, you're going to see a list of testimonials that have been submitted. So this is where I get to kind of pick and choose which ones that I want, right? I only have 2, so I can show 2 or just one of them. So that way, if someone leaves me not a great testimonial, it doesn't automatically appear on my site. The 1-star rating doesn't appear. I can pick and choose which ones appear on my site because it is, in fact, my agent site. And then once again, I can continue to go through each widget, and here's the information that it's pulling, right? If I want to change something specific, I can even have a specific photo on this one if I don't want to use this one with my crooked smile, because look at my smile, it's crooked, it's insane. I don't know what happened. I need plastic surgery. And I got a big nose. I've noticed that. It's got a big nose. It's like my nose is as big as my ear. I got some big ears. But anyways, I digress. So as you know, you can modify this information. And even with the download your app, if you want specific verbiage here, it's already going to have your app link in here. You just save and apply. The thing with the widgets, there's not a whole lot of them, but they're very, very cool. If you use the team widget, for instance, and you go and you configure the team widget, this is where you can have a specific page about your team. And then anyone that's on your team within command, you can start to include them. So now you can see, here's my team admin, my buyer's agent. Here I have Chelsea, who's our ROM in the region. She's technically on my team for testing purposes. And I have a buyer specialist, right? And if they have their photos uploaded within command, it's going to show their photos. Now, this is only going to be for people that are attached to your team within command. If you have that assistant that doesn't have a command account, they're not going to be they will not appear in this list. So I just kind of want to point that out. And then if we're happy with this page, right, if we're happy with the way this looks, we can always go back. Yep, we want to save these changes. This is kind of a new thing. I don't think I've seen this loading screen before. I've added a bunch of widgets, so we'll see if I broke it. There we go. And now, I have my page created. And it's actually, so see, I'm only viewing 1 of 10. So I need to actually see it because it's probably on the next page. But, and if I want to go through and I want to edit a specific page, right? If I've created a page, so let's say I want to edit my testimonial capture page. I can go on the right-hand side, click the 3 little dots, click edit. And now I'm back and I can start to change some of the verbiage. I can add some additional widgets. If instead I want to add an image, I can do that. And then I can browse and upload those images, right? It's very simple. It's very basic. You're just stacking blocks on top of blocks, but it's an easy way for you to edit and change your pages. And keep in mind, the agent site pages are the ones that will appear, or you can have appear within your menu. Any questions about agent site pages? I mean, it's not overly complicated. We have a limited number of widgets by design to just make sure we're only focusing on things that probably provide true value. But generally, for a lot of especially new agents, if you're a new agent on this call, the standard pages we set up through the Kelly Guide are generally okay for the beginning. You don't need to go in and build a specific testimonial capture page yet. You don't need to do any of that stuff yet. So now let's quickly talk about landing pages. Landing pages give you a little bit more depth. So when we click create new page and we click as a landing page, the first thing you're going to notice is actually we have more widgets here, and there's different ones. So for instance, we have our branded header, which is going to be our information at the top. We have agent branding, which is actually, let's stop with that for now. We have our branded header, and then we actually have 2 that I really want to talk about. We have our listing and our market snap. So one of the really cool things you could do with your agent sites, and especially a landing page, is build a dedicated page for a listing. So when we drag over this listing widget, you can kind of already see that it's going to be a little bit more fancy than, or fancier, I guess. You can't be more fancy, you have to be fancier, I guess. It's going to be fancier than what you're going to see from a standard search result. So if you have a high-end property, for instance, and you're going to run a Facebook campaign, build out a quick landing page for that property. You drag that widget over, you click configure widgets, you browse, you locate the property that you want to feature within this widget. And I always pick the same one just because it's easy. You can pick which photo you want to upload. You can upload a custom image. You save and apply. And now it's just that simple. It's pulled the property description, it's pulled the photos. And now we have a dedicated landing page for a property. Once again, this could be a thing of value add, right? You can sit there and say, hey, you know what? At that listing presentation, your property is going to have a dedicated listing page on my agent site. All right, that'll showcase just your property. And that's the idea behind this, right? There's no other searches being done on this property, on this page, right? Someone, they go here, they're not going to search for another property. This is going to be specifically on this property. We can drop in a lead form down at the bottom, right? So if anyone wants to talk about it, and we can even, of course, drop in, your agent branding below it, and then a legal footer down at the bottom, right? Just to build it out. And it's just that quick to build a quick and easy landing page. Super fast, super easy. Not much more to really say about it. Just that quick. A couple of the other widgets we have available to us are the market snap. So let me jump back and let me create a new page, because once I start saving things, especially with the landing page, I don't want to overwhelm it with all the different widgets. So if we drop in our branded header, we can do a market snap. And this allows us to, if we configure the widget, to pick a specific neighborhood or area, zip code, however we want to do it, right? So here I live in Westbrook, so I could say, welcome to Westbrook. Here I'm going to do a search. Oop. And that's going to hopefully show me all the zip codes. And it's in here somewhere. No, I just start typing. Oh, there it is. So I can hit save and apply. And now I've built a specific landing page that is just going to be dedicated to Westbrook. You know, if this is one of the neighborhoods that I farm, that I have listings in, that I'm trying to get listings in, I could build just a specific page that gives some really quick, easy information. I could add some images, some text about it, you know, some contact forms to generate a lead form from this as well. If I wanted to, I could drop in a video, right? And then I could have a video that I upload to here that says, hey, welcome to Westbrook. You know, this is where I live, and this is, you know, and let's take a quick tour of Westbrook, right? Whatever you want to do, we have some additional widgets within here that allow you to kind of start to customize things just a little bit more. It's not overly complicated. And once again, these aren't things you have to do, but a landing page, especially if you're going to advertise a listing and you're going to do a Facebook campaign, I'd highly recommend you build out a landing page. You know, it just gives it a little bit more flair. And then one of the cool things I forgot to mention as well, that over here on the left-hand side, we have these little views. So this is how we kind of view what the website's going to look like on the different devices. So here we can see what it looks like on the desktop. Here, if we click tablet, we're going to see what it looks like on a tablet screen. And then, of course, we click the little phone icon. This is what it kind of looks like on a phone. Whenever we build any kind of pages, I always recommend we build it from the phone view first, right? Build it for the mobile, and then we worry about the desktop later. Because chances are, if anyone's going to go to your website, it's going to be on their cell phone, right? So we want that vertical look. And we just save the landing page. And now we have it built. And if we want to publish it, we can absolutely come over here and we can edit it and we can publish it. I think we got to configure a couple of the widgets here. So let's get rid of this one and then we can publish it. And now the page is live. So if we go here, it's not going to be extremely fancy, but here you can see the page we just built is live. Here you can see one that I built for Sesame Street. It's actually not Sesame Street, it's just a random listing I picked. And then here's one I actually did do for Westbrook, fooling around in class one day, ready to join the best of Westbrook. And if at any point I'm done with this, if it's a listing, I can just turn it off, mark it inactive. And now if someone were to try to go to that page, and here we'll try to go to it, it doesn't exist anymore. You know, landing pages can be used for so many different things. And what's really neat, if you start to generate leads off of landing pages, you're actually going to see, like, for instance, this page generated 5 leads. And I'll get notifications and all that good stuff.
So when we create a landing page, so I did one for like the snapshot. Mm-hmm. I didn't see it in my main nav on my website. So is it not part of that? Is it you have to drive people there?
Yes. So, and that's the biggest difference. When you do a landing page, you cannot add a landing page to your agent site menu, right? Those are landing pages by design are temporary, right? So they're not going to be based on your actual agent site navigation. So yeah, the idea with these are things that you're going to specifically drive people to. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome. Any other questions? Great question, Tiffany. Thank you so much. I mean, because it's 11 o'clock, so we kind of finished it right on the dime. It's an hour long. So any questions, concerns, criticisms, compliments? I will stop the share. Does anyone have anything at all? No, it's just the start. Landing pages, like building out your agent websites. One of the things I really love about, I love the simplicity with it, because you can kind of get in there, crank out. I think a listing landing page is one of the biggest value adds, especially if you have a higher end listing. Take the 30 seconds to build that out and then advertise that. If you guys have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to me if you want. I also recommend that you reach out to your MCTT within your market center. If you don't know who your MCTT is, talk to your MCA or your TL, and they should be able to point you in the right direction. Of course, I'm always available to help. Outside of that, thank you all for joining me today as we went through the consumer applet. And I hopefully will see you guys tomorrow. I think there's another class on referrals, I think, is tomorrow. So make sure you tune in for that if you're interested. Hope you all have a great day.